So glad to see you this week. Thanks for coming back and listening to more about Moses. We are going to pick back up from last week and see what else God has done for the Israelites during this time. So last week we talked about how they didn't have water for a few days, and God had led them to this pool of sorts and had some water in it, but it was really bitter and nasty. And God told Moses to throw a branch into the water, and when he did, the water became sweet and they were able to drink it. So God provided water to the Israelites even after they were so worried and upset, thinking that they weren't going to have any water ever again, even after God had already saved them from the Egyptians. So we're going to go back into where they're at now. So it's been a few weeks later. They've been traveling through the wilderness for a couple of months probably, and now they're running into another problem. Instead of being worried about water, now they're worried about food, because they gathered up all the food that they had when they were in Egypt, and they've eaten all of it. So now they're running out of food, and I guess they haven't learned yet. They're worried about where they're going to get their food from. So they became worried again and couldn't believe it. And they were getting really upset and getting mad at Moses again. And here we go. So you can go ahead and open your Bibles. We're going to still be in the book of Exodus, the second book of the Bible. And we're going to be in Exodus 16. So Exodus 16. So now the Israelites they're getting really worried, they're getting really mad at Moses, and they're telling Moses, now we're running out of food, there's nothing anywhere, we're in this desert, there's nothing around, and what are we gonna do? Look, we're running out of food, we're gonna die. We should have just stayed in Egypt where we had bread and meat to eat. And Moses, all right, here we go again. So God told Moses, okay, I've heard them. I'm listening. I'm right here with you. Let them know I hear them, and tell them not to worry, that in the morning there'll be bread on the ground. I'm going to send bread from heaven, and it's going to cover the ground, and they need to gather it up every day. They need to gather enough for just that day. They don't need to keep it overnight. They just need to get enough to eat for that day, because every morning when they wake up, they'll have more. I will give it to them every morning. So Moses told the people this, and wouldn't you know it, the next morning, here's all these, they're like flakes, the cereal Frosted Flakes. It kind of looked like that, and there were just a ton of it all over the ground, and the people were so excited, and some listened, and they gathered enough to eat for that day. And you can see them here gathering that. See all these white flakes everywhere? So they gathered that up, and they said, what is this? What are we touching? We've never seen this before. And Moses told them, that's the bread that God sent from heaven for you to eat. So gather it up. So they gathered it up. Some of them gathered enough for the whole day, like they were told. Some gathered too much because they were worried that there wouldn't be any the next morning. So they gathered too much and they kept it overnight. Well, in the morning, they went to see what they had gathered the day before, and it was yucky. It stunk, and there were worms in it, and it was gross. It had gone bad overnight. Ugh. So when Moses heard that they had done this and seen that that it had gone bad, he got so frustrated. He was like, ugh, would you guys just listen? Just follow the directions. But sure enough, there was more the next morning. So the Israelites called this manna, this bread that was sent from heaven. called manna. Manna means, what is it? So they named it manna because they didn't know what it was. So they gathered it every morning, and then God told them on the sixth day, you're going to gather this for 6 days in a row, and then on the sixth day, you need to gather enough for 2 days, because on Sunday, the seventh day, it's a holy day. It's called the Sabbath day, and we're all resting on that day. So no work will be done. I'm not going to send any down, so you need to gather enough for 2 days. So some listened and some did not, because they saw what happened when it sat there overnight. They saw that it had gone bad when they tried to do that before. So they didn't really believe that that would work. So some didn't gather enough. Well, the ones that listened got to see that yes, in fact, it was still good for 2 days, just like God had said. So the people that didn't get enough, they went hungry for a day until the Lord sent down more manna on Monday morning. So, wouldn't you know, they needed to believe God. Hopefully they'll learn that God's never going to leave them alone. He's never going to do them wrong. God is a good God, and He takes care of us. He took care of them, and He does the same for us today. So we may not get bread sent down from heaven like the Israelites did. And they did that for 40 years, by the way. 40 years. That's a long time that God every morning, except for on the Sabbath day, would send bread from heaven for them to make sure that they didn't go hungry. So we might not get bread sent from heaven, but God still provides for us too. So even though we get our food from maybe a grocery store, or some of you may have a garden in your backyard that you can pick berries from or something like that, you know, all of that comes from God. He provides everything for us, even the water we drink. So let's always remember, like the Israelites had to learn, we always need to trust God, that He'll take care of us no matter what's going on. So that's a wonderful lesson this week. I love that. It's such a great reminder to know that, you know, we don't really need to worry that much. We just need to put our trust in God and believe what He says, and know that He will provide for us no matter what, because He loves us. So we are going to finish up Moses next week. I can't wait to see what God has in store to tell us then. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.